Here are 10 Runelite plugins to help you go from this to this. Let's get started. Most people are familiar with tagging NPCs under the NPC Indicators plugin. You can either type a name or right-click a monster and tag them. We can make this plugin even better though. Checking the True Tile box and the Southwest tile are game changers. Take Artio and Callisto for example. It looks like they can melee you from across the entire map. Once you turn on the highlight True Tile, you can see where he's moving and he's not even close to where his actual hitbox is, so it's easier to avoid getting smacked while you're trying to catch a freeze. In TOA, you can use them to reliably skip over waves, step when the wave True Tile is next to you and then just run back. You can use it with volatile balloons to make it easier to blow up, just step one away when they're next to you. And it's also nice for Baba to know when he's right next to you so you can reliably set up a red X. Attack him when he's right next to you, then click on the crystal walk 3 times, attack him and you're done. The Southwest tile may sound odd, but any monster bigger than a 1x1 size will try and line up their Southwest tile to melee you. This means you can get them stuck on a ledge if their Southwest tile can see you. Take a look at Shamans. There's a few ledges in this room, so if the Shaman can line up his Southwest tile with me and still get behind the ledge, he'll just stare at me like a dummy. The same concept also applies to Metronome. You can see if I'm on this side of the tree, his Southwest tile is lined up to me. So I'm going to drag him on the other side of the tree. Now that he's up here, I can run to the other side of the tree, and because his Southwest tile is lined up with me, he gets stuck. Metatiles are pretty weird though, as you all know, so sometimes they move, but there's a few places you can set up the Southwest tile trap here. Mama is the same story, just get somewhere where her Southwest tile can see you, but she's not next to you, that way she won't get her melee attacks off. You may think this is your character, but actually, this is your character. Our next plugin shows you how to utilize that to your advantage. Tile Indicators plugin, make sure that you check Highlight True Tile. This is useful to always know exactly where you are, and it shows when you have run enabled that you skip over tiles. This means you can avoid ground mechanics like Artio traps, Baba Venom, and Zabak poison. You can also use it to help on things like killing the Warden skulls. Right when you see the square next to a skull, click on the next one. That's not my favorite part of the plugin though. I always thought whenever somebody talked about canning ticks that it was super sweaty stuff and would never apply to me. So instead of thinking of it as ticks, I just think about it as stuff happening. Here's what I mean. I know my Bofa has an attack speed of 4, so this means I can move 3 times and then attack and it'll happen on the 4th tick. In terms of stuff happening, I can see my tile move 1, 2, 3 times, and then me shooting is the 4th stuff happening. This is useful in places where you need to move a lot while keeping up damage, so think Vasa, Tecton, Olm, etc. For the third plugin, I like to use Visual Metronome. This is just a nice way to count that stuff mentioned before if you're standing still, which is also known as ticks. You can see for the Ranger, instead of moving 3 times, I just watched my tile change 3 times. When I first started raids, I was afraid to go with other people because of the Guardian's room. The Visual Metronome makes it so I can run 2 squares back, step 1 forward, and watch it change 3 times before attacking again. This way I stay on cycle and I don't embarrass myself. I mentioned this in my TOA guide, but having radius markers make Akka much easier. You don't have to think about what to pray because he'll change colors to match, and it has True Tile enabled so you can butterfly him with ease. It's also very useful for Nex and in Theater of Blood Nilos. This one may be a little bit weird, but here's me trying to do a 6-way switch. So, it wasn't too bad, but I did miss an item. And this happens to me a lot. So, if I hold the mouse button for even a millisecond too long, things get messed up and it tries to drag the item and it doesn't equip. Because of this, I like to do the anti-drag plugin and turn it on. This makes it so I have to hold it for a while before it drags, which means if my clicks are a little bit slower than usual, I'll still equip them. So now a 6-way switch is much easier. These are my preferred settings, but you can mess with the drag delay. The higher it is, the longer you have to hold before you move it. But for me, it doesn't really matter because I have it disabled on control pressed, so I can just push control and still move things around my inventory freely. It takes about 5 seconds to get used to, but then it's much easier and much more consistent to switch my gears mid-raid. This is a simple one, but I forget to resummon Thralls a lot, and they are such a huge DPS increase. This is how I have it set up, and this is what it looks like when you need to resummon a Thrall. So you get this little notification, and you can move it wherever you want. I like it right above my inventory, because I'm usually looking at my inventory or my prayers or something. But you could set it right in the middle, you could set it by your buffs, wherever you want. I like it above the inventory, because when I'm going through prayers and everything, if I need to resummon him, it's just right there. If you really want it to remind you, you can go to the Runelite plugin. And click on the settings. Turn flash on, and when you need to summon a Thrall, it'll really let you know. You can also set up this flash for if you have low HP, prayer, or if somebody types your name. It gets really annoying really quick if you have too many. So you can see I have it so it flashes and gets me to focus right away. I just had it at the 2 seconds, but you could have it flash until canceled, solid until canceled. Whatever you like best. I haven't been playing with the flash on lately though, personally.
Stupid idiots need to click on colors to know what they're wearing.
Yeah, I know, some people like to make fun of this. But the less things you have to focus on, the more you can pay attention to the actual mechanics. This is known as mental stack. It's very commonly talked about in fighting games. If you can reduce the things you have to focus on, you will have a higher success rate. Look at Akka. He just switched to melee. I need to switch my defensive prayer, which is easy, my offensive prayer, which is easy. I need to get in position for butterfly, which is easy, change my gear, which is easy, attack him, which is easy, run around him, which is easy. These are all easy things to do, but put together it starts getting more difficult. So if I can reduce the strain of one thing, which is in this case looking for my items in my inventory, it makes it all a bit easier and hopefully helps me start my butterfly before he switches. Now for my switches, all I have to do is click the blue color. This one is situationally useful, and I usually have it turned off. However, look at this standard TOA mass. In Wardens, there's people, Thralls, pets, just everywhere, and it's difficult to see the shadows of the exploding skulls. Click this button to make them go away, and it's much easier to see the shadows. Hiding them and yourself will also make P4 much easier because you can clearly see where the shadows are. Also, hiding yourself but not others is useful for LMS and wilderness content, because a lot of PKers step under you so you can't see what to pray. But if you hide yourself, you can see what weapon they switch to and pray accordingly. Look at how nice P4 is in a mass. Normally you got 8 bodies, 8 Thralls, and 8 pets covering every tile known to man, but now I can see everything. A side note, if you're having trouble seeing yourself with Entity Hider on, you can turn on the player outline so you know where you are. Also, tile indicators help you know where you are, but you can still see underneath you. Menu Entry Swapper is also very nice. Under the NPC swaps, make sure you have customizable left and shift click toggled. This makes it so if I want to walk here but I don't want to attack the Saradomin Priest, I can hold shift and right click him, and I can switch whatever my left click and shift click are. So I can switch the left click to walk here, so now I won't accidentally click him. This is useful in some bosses. Take Xiliana for example. Typically, you will run around the room kiting her, but she's got the melee minion Starlight following you, and I don't want to accidentally click on Starlight. So if I switch Starlight's left click to walk here, while I'm kiting Xiliana, I won't accidentally click Starlight. There's Xiliana and Starlight following me, but I'm not going to accidentally click on Starlight. It makes it much easier to kite her around the room without focusing too much. This also works for the Blood Reavers in Nex, or on the dang bugs in Kefri that ruined my 450. The last plugin I want to talk about is a bit specific, but generally the Chamber's advice I see given is get an overload room and avoid the Vs. The Vs being Vanguards, Vespula, and Monsters. I feel like Vanguards are unfairly villainized for the sole reason their name starts with a V. They are easy to handle, especially with this plugin. They get color-coded, so you know what to pray against, and it shows their HP, so you shouldn't do too much damage. They drop Sprite supplies for the rest of the room as well. Vanguards are vaguely villainized, but have very vivacious drops if you vacate their vessels. Vanguards are the valedictorians of value and vanity. I need a vacation. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know plugins are a bit of a divisive topic, but please try and keep the comments civil and let people play the video game how they want to and it's fun for them. If you enjoyed the video, I would greatly appreciate a like and subscribe. Thank you so much. If there are any plugins you use, please let me know and I'll try to cover them in a future video. If you have any questions, please just leave a comment down below. What video? Like the video, and they're fun to engage with. What type of guide would you like? If you have a comment, you're wrong about Vanguard. Vanguard is still pretty boss. You want to get a 50 and the Vanguard's reset. Vanguard sometimes they hit me multiple times and I die. I know if I made a hard here, I'd like all Vanguard die and I can't hard long. I can't believe I mean, they start with the video. All good bosses start with like awesome, like Chambers. Subscribe.